on Forsyth County.
This conference will now be recorded.
We'll begin with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome to the March 7th, 2022 Lake County Commission meeting. Randy Dahlke will be joining us by electronic media. He's under the weather today. Appreciate him not sharing. Some of us are guilty of that, so we appreciate his consideration. First item is agenda approval. We will add road and bridge following administrative business, approximately 1:45. Any other changes to the agenda? If not, we'll consider it approved. First item is Krista, the Health Department.
Oh, did you want to do public comments?
Oh, sorry, Tina. Are there any members of the public who would like to make comments in the public forum? There's no one here in person. There's nobody else.
There's no one. I just wanted to make
Yes,
sure.
thank you. I appreciate that, Tina.
Keep him leading.
Keep me on track.
Hi.
Hello, Krista.
Today I have grant applications for signature
Yay.
for our yearly aid to local grants.
Excellent.
State. Last week we found out about an opportunity for an extra $7,000 through the state, and so that is for this, they call it their fiscal year, which goes through the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
So I also have that application as well, and it's just some state funding that came about that we weren't expecting, so we'll take that.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Right. Any commission questions or opposition to the application? We need a motion. If not, is there a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the application?
I'll make a motion to authorize the chairman to send grant applications for the health department.
Commissioner Becker, second by
Second.
Commissioner Gearing, sorry.
Okay.
He was on top of
Okay.
the motion. So we have a motion and a second to proceed with the grant application. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0, and Commissioner Dahlke just joined us. Did you hear the application, Commissioner Dahlke?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, would you vote yea or nay on the application?
I don't think you heard the application.
Okay. Yeah, there was an application for grant through the health department.
Try me again.
Yeah.
Okay, Krista presented an application for a grant available through Kansas Department of Health and Environment. We had a motion and a second to approve the application. Would you like to vote yea or nay on that application?
Yay.
Okay, we have 5-0. Thank you.
And the other application, so they're two separate. The one was
Okay.
for this year through the end of June.
Yes.
And then the other one is for our, they call it SFY 2023, which is July 1st through June 30th of next year.
Yes.
So they do it for 2023. It's a grand total of $167,370.62.
Okay.
And $137,480.62 are specifically COVID-19 grants. So they're not a repetitive grant, but we have that opportunity. So.
What uses would it be for?
Uses go for a multitude of things. So.
Sorry, just one sec. Your mic is off, so
That
let
should
me
have got
turn everything.
everybody's attention.
Well, I'm sorry, I was trying to turn it up and it wasn't working, and so I was just checking.
There we go. We'll try again.
Because I think Randy's having trouble hearing.
applications.
Now let's be ready. Okay.
There we go. There.
So
That's
these, these applications go for kind of a multitude of things. There's grants that we get every year, or we apply for every year. So a preparedness grant is every year. State formula grant, which can be used, is generally used for salaries, but we apply for that every year. An immunization action plan grant, and we also get that So whether it's advertising or salaries for our staff or office supplies. We have an electronic health record, which is quite expensive. We just looked at those expenses today, and like an average yearly cost is about $9,800. So it all goes toward those type of things.
Very good. This sounds like a very, very worthwhile grant.
For these grants,
These are grants that we apply for every year, so, yeah.
And then the $137,480.62, those are specifically COVID-19 grants. So they will run out and we won't get the opportunity to reapply for those.
are those funds, can they be used in more than one fiscal year?
So the COVID-19 grants, several of them have a carryover, and that's what I've done with those specifically. Like, so 2 of those COVID-19 grants will go through June of 2024. And so I split those up. So we have, for example, the IAP Supplemental 3 Vaccine Access Grant is $31,500. And we'll apply for that again for the following year and have that money as carryover. The IAP Supplemental 4 Vaccine Equity Grant is $38,643.36. Same type of scenario, we'll have carryover, and that same amount will carry over for the next year.
Didn't know you could be an accountant, did you?
I did not.
Did you have a signature page for the chairman?
I do, I have several, and then I also have a signature page for Wanda Manicom. She's just going to stay for a short time, part-time. So it's just changing her from full-time to part-time to hopefully get some training hours with a new person.
Great. Other questions on the grant applications?
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gehring to approve applications on those grants. Is there a second by Commissioner Crowfoot? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Okay, I just clarification, and I thought you already did that. So what was the first action you took on the grants?
It was the State Formula 2.0 grant.
So that was just for that
this
It was for
individual one?
2022.
Okay.
The other grant applications were all for 2023.
23, correct.
So the difference was the fiscal.
Okay, I just thought you did it all together, so.
We did
got
2
it.
separate. So you have those signature
Thank you.
pages. We'll get the process rolling.
Is this the whole application?
So there's 3 different signature lines. That one is for the 2023 grants.
Okay, I'm just asking, is this everything? Because I need to have
Yes.
a copy of the
Yes.
whole application.
Yes.
Okay. So there's no pages that go with that?
Our application pages, but those aren't, I don't know that you guys, I don't know that you guys would ever get that minus the signature page.
Okay.
That should be the grant
Okay.
applications. And then we have the salary change for Wanda Manicom from 28/16 to 28/16, effective March 5th. Change from full-time to part-time registered nurse.
Tina, do you just make copies of people in your box?
That's fine. If you want to take anything out, then that's fine. Otherwise, I usually just keep them, make copies and give you the originals back. But if
Okay,
you need them to
whatever.
take them with you, then yes. I need to do that.
And you're gonna stand with?
Leave copies.
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't need this one.
I do not, no. Thank you.
Randy, do you want me to use your stamp on the salary sheet? For
Yes.
Wanda? Okay.
Okay, very good. We're a couple minutes early, but would you like to move into?
Yes, I would. It gives us some additional time.
All right, we will move into county councilor business.
Probably the first thing that we should do to get that out of the way, a brief executive session, potential litigation, attorney-client privilege is the exception.
And how long?
10 minutes.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for consultation, item 2, consultation with our attorney, potential litigation, attorney-client privilege with the county commission, counselor, clerk, for 10 minutes from 12:45 to 12:55, resuming in this room. Is there a second? Second. by
I was waiting, I was looking down there, I stole him.
Commissioner Crowfoot.
Are we gonna call Randy on the phone?
Yes. Let's use the telephone. Very good.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Or all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We will be back in 10 minutes at 12:55.
So open and shut.
This conference will now be recorded.
We are out of executive session, no decisions made, but we would like to do another 5-minute executive session. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege. With the commission, counselor, and clerk, for 5 minutes. We go in at, let's go in at 1 o'clock, come out at 1:05 in the commission chambers. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0. We'll be back at 1:05.
Thank you.
I wouldn't want that. It's gonna be back and forth in this for a minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
We are out of executive session, no decisions made. 5 minutes.
Should be plenty.
I move that we recess in executive session in order to discuss preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 6, preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate with the commission, counselor, and clerk for 5 minutes from 1:05 to 1:10.
Second.
Okay, we have second, Commissioner Gary. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We'll be back in 5 minutes at 1:10.
Are we going back into regular session?
Regular session.
Okay.
We've got one more item.
This
more
conference
item.
will now be recorded.
Oh.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Oh, no, I guess not.
It'll be
They can
open.
come in.
Yeah.
Oh, you can come in.
We're out of executive session, no decisions made. I believe the next item Brett had was the Kelly Law
I
agreement.
think that's probably the last one we have time for today. The Kelly Law Agreement, you'll recall we had discussed the possibility of adding a paragraph regarding reimbursement of costs or the ability to cover our costs in any given circumstance in what we'll consider a tax event, a tax foreclosure. If anyone doesn't recall or didn't look at the 1.7.5 that I sent you, I've got copies here, but I'm satisfied with the language in it and the reassurance that she's providing. The rest of the contract was fine as it was.
Randy hasn't made it back yet.
I think he's still on.
Oh, okay.
Well, Randy, are you on?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Keep working on the Zoom. As long as you're on, we're.
As long as you can hear us.
There he is. Now he's on Zoom.
Now we're gonna get an echo if I don't shut that off.
Yeah. So my recommendation is for passage of that at this point so we can move ahead. I know staff was anxious to get started with
Yes.
them.
Any other questions by commission on the Kelly Law agreement? If not, is there a motion to approve the proposal, the agreement, I'm sorry.
Contract.
Motion by Commissioner Garrett to approve the contract with Kelly Law, second by Commissioner Becker. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Okay. That's the list for today.
Very good.
Can you provide that to them for signature? I don't know if I-
Yes,
or- I
I
don't
have.
think I've printed off the
I do.
revised.
I do have one. Those few times I can actually say yes. You just require-
And then do they need to do the board order then, or wait until they, until Mrs. Kelly signs her agreement?
I would let her sign first.
And then do
go ahead
this
and
next
it.
week?
Mhm. It should, with the contract in place.
I can print that off and bring that.
I've got it.
Okay.
This one's stapled, is that gonna be a problem?
No.
Okay. So we didn't do this before, so we should be good there. Okay.
All right, very good. We're ready for Nikki.
Am I hooking up right here?
Actually, if you could come over to the table, there's a microphone.
Yeah. How to-
Oh, we got Tina.
I can also try sending it to you and we can run from your computer.
You don't have it on a flash drive?
I don't, unfortunately.
Do you have an HDMI?
I do.
Well,
You gonna help them? Hook the computer up to the program.
There is HDMI.
Can you
Sorry.
hook up to the
Kinda
TV?
short on.
Can she join the session,
I could, yeah, I could join a Zoom session.
then transfer the?
okay. I just don't want that to mess up our sound, and you'd have to make sure your microphone is off.
I can do that.
And your speakers.
I can do that.
Okay.
In that case,
And I'm gonna have to send an invitation.
Okay.
So where do I send that?
Alex.stark@eagleview.com.
Sorry, Tina.
Okay, let's see if it'll work in here in a second.
Takes too long, we can also type in the meeting ID.
And it's not Zoom, it's GoToMeeting.
Oh, okay.
So-
Sorry.
That's all right.
That's my fault, my bad.
You want it?
Meeting ID.
Okay, then we'll go to the second and maybe.
Guess that's official.
Very official. Is it coming from Rebecca Slattery?
No, it would be from T. Spencer at MarionCOKS.net.
Wait, let's see who's there first.
And if it's not a large file, you could send it to me and I could just advance it for you if this doesn't work correctly for you.
I'm trying to get joined right now. If that doesn't work, we'll go that route.
Okay.
Good thing is we
sounds
got
good.
options.
Yes, we have options. Did you receive the invite?
Not yet, but
Okay, that's all right.
email's been a little slow today.
Randy, I'm gonna mute you. I think we're getting some noise from you, okay? I'm gonna mute you for a little bit. And then if you need to pipe in and say something, you know how to unmute yourself, right? Or you can wave your arms, like, and I'll unmute you.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay. There we go.
There we go. And a smile behind the hand.
Okay, there you are.
Okay, give me just a second, I will get everything. Can I share my screen, or it says it's?
Now you can.
Okay.
Yep.
So, don't wanna get hopes up or something until this line.
There we go. Nice.
Okay, good. Randy says he can see it.
Good. Trying to get in the slideshow mode here. Okay.
Okay,
Well,
thank you, Alexander. Appreciate your being with us today.
thank you for having me. I don't know how much Nikki's prefaced, so, what,
I just got in here as soon
Okay.
as you did, so.
what Eagle View is an aerial photography company with different softwares that go along with that. The base of that being aerial photography. And how we're different is that not only do you get your straight down view, you get your 45-degree angle of all four sides of a structure.
Would Bryce want to listen to this too?
He's
No,
online.
we already have this
Okay.
program and
Yeah.
we're all aware of it.
This
Okay.
is,
Yeah.
this is something we have.
He's just out in the hallway.
Oh, well, I mean, he can come in if he wants to.
Is this the GIS?
So,
Pictometry.
as you guys, and it sounds like you're aware, we already have a current contract with you guys. The first flight on that contract being in either 19 or 20, I cannot remember off the top of my head. But that being said, typically renewals are on a 3-year renewal span, because by the time you get to 3-4 years, you know, a lot has changed in your county. So I'll breeze through this a little bit quickly, because I wasn't sure how aware you guys were, so, well, there it is. So we're headquartered out of Bellevue, Washington. We were originally known as Pictometry, merged with Eagle View in 2013, a combined company of 800 plus employees. We serve 1,600 plus counties across the United States. That's actually up quite a bit now. We're still waiting on the official number, but we are working on that. And right now we capture 20 plus counties in Kansas City. Or not Kansas City, Kansas. I live in Kansas City. So once we get over here, this is what we have so far in Kansas. We have a couple more since this map was made. One of those being Jackson County, Kansas. So this is, once it switches maybe. Okay, here we go.
Just a little delayed.
Yeah, there we go. So this is how we capture imagery. Oh, let's see if they'll do it again. There we go. You get the gist there. We get a shot straight down and then one all 4 cardinal directions, you know, so you can do that side shot view. So what this does is gives us a solution for every agency. And in Marion, you guys are using it across the county pretty well. One of those being public safety, city and county engineering, profitable appraisal, which is a big one for Miss Nikki here, and public works. So once this switches over, currently, Marion County has a 3-inch oblique in 3 of its towns, a 6-inch ortho, and a 9-inch oblique in the rural areas. So you've got a combined of 3-inch in your more populated and a 6-inch and 9-inch in your more rural areas for your obliques. And I don't know if you guys can see,
What's the difference between those, or what does that mean?
So this one right here is what we call the worst GSD or resolution.
Okay.
The closer you get in, the more
Better
pixelated.
resolution?
Yeah.
Such a resolution.
Yep. And then 3-inch being the best.
Okay, thank you.
And the reason why we have certain areas with higher quality is because of the cost.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which we're going to touch on in a minute. I'm glad you said that.
I remember this one pretty well.
Good. So this is what we currently have. You guys probably can speak better to what those towns are, because I'll probably get them jumbled, but the purple boxes here are what the 3-inch is
Gotcha.
at currently.
Very good.
So along with our imagery, we also give you Connect Explorer, which is a cloud-based solution for viewing all of that. As long as the county has a 0 subscription,
you guys can see it from any desktop or mobile device, as long as you have internet connection. We also have offline solutions, but this is the most common and user-friendly. So, getting to price. We have had this wonderful thing called Arpa Funding come up in the last couple of years. We have had multiple counties across Kansas and Missouri, which is where I manage, use Arpa funding. So there are a couple of things that you have to have in order to qualify that. One being it has to support enhanced government services, and two, it can replace lost revenue. Jackson County was the first county in Kansas to do this. We have other ones discussing it, along with yourselves maybe. But they paid for a full 6-year contract to Project Flight with some of our other software packages with ARPA funding. So for Marion, Kansas to qualify, you would need to upgrade one of your GSDs. And what I would suggest is upping that 9-inch to 6-inch in your rural areas. So, any questions on that? Not yet? Okay.
Johnny, you're the one that.
I mean.
No, it's just gonna cost, it's gonna cost more.
Well, the question
It's
is,
gonna
what's the
cost
cost
more.
difference?
So you could find more
Yes.
things to charge them, people for me.
Well,
You can, more of the assets.
well, I mean, what the upping the GSD does is it allows you to have a better resolution, and because of that, you can see more of what you're doing. The better the resolution, the better your measurement in your area, and all the tools that come with Connect you can do. We have a lot of road and bridge departments that up their resolution so they can see cracks in sidewalks, develop maintenance plans, that kind of thing.
Better get on it, right?
Yeah.
We'd have a lot of pictures.
You would. From an appraisal standpoint, it's really being able to have a better resolution so that when you're sending people out, you have a more of a checklist rather than starting from scratch. So there's lots of different use cases. I have a couple of links down here that I could show you, but just for the sake of time, I feel like we should come back to that. So I guess we're at questions now. Do we have any other questions?
What was our contract amount 3 years ago?
I would have to look. I
got
didn't
it.
pull all that.
She's got it.
And the county did make some changes to the resolutions at that time,
We did, we upped the resolution 3 years ago.
just in certain areas.
Yep, and that's those cities that I pointed out. So currently the contract is at $109,409.
That was a 3-year contract.
That was a 3-year project on a 6-year contract. So the way Eagle View sets up their contract is that when you sign a 6-year it's called a long-term incentive, you are only contractually obligated to the first project. The second project, you are guaranteed that same price for same products. But I will say, since we have signed that contract 3-4 years ago, our products have changed for the better. We've got better pricing and a better product model, basically.
So what'd you say it was, 109?
109, $109,409.
What's the next 3 years?
You could go that way, the same exact number, the 104 number, or you could see how our pricing model has changed, and maybe with an upgrade of 10 to 15,000, you can get the entire 6-inch in the rural areas. Whereas before, that would have been more around the 50,000 range.
Well, I'm curious to hear the upgrade to 6-inch on the road.
Okay. I think that we could get that for around 125 to 130. I did not want to go through the quoting process with that.
Sure, understood.
But looking at your contract and knowing our pricing model now, I think that we can do lots.
And that was one opinion that I want to speak to
Yeah,
the
fine.
commission. Is there interest on part of the rest of the commission getting a price on the 3-inch in the urban areas been previously identified, and then the rest of the county at 6?
Would this help with road and bridge too?
I think it would. Go ahead.
If we have better pictures?
Do you kind of have some statistics of how often it's used and what entities are using it and what they're using it for?
Good.
If you guys want to know.
Well, I think that would be good to hear. I can tell you what other counties do, but nobody knows better than the people using it. So if you want to go ahead.
So in the past year, pictometry's been logged into. You're gonna be a set closer.
I got you.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Randy's online, so.
Okay.
Well, yeah, everybody's online, so.
It's been logged into 1,991 times, and 18,235 images have been looked at. Pictometry's maintained and updated about 4 to 5 times a year, and that's done by our office. Several local government offices have logins and use it daily or regularly. The city of Marion says it's a great aid to a lot of what they do. They use it for looking up subdivisions, road and street projects and measurements. Fire departments use it for planning and zoning, and utilities use it for property lines and setbacks. Marion Police Department uses it for parking planning, for big events and other planning operations. City of Hillsborough, I talked to Ben Spickety. He uses it almost daily for zoning, property lines, code enforcement, site plans for proposed planning. He also uses it for planning and zoning hearings. He can find who owns properties within 200 feet of a project to like mail out letters. Dale with the road department uses it regularly to locate projects and measuring projects. And he uses the overhead view often. I did try to get a hold of Anthony because I know he does a lot of their big events, and I hadn't heard back from him, so I would assume he uses it for planning.
He's not there.
Oh, he's not there. That's probably why he didn't call
That's
back.
why. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Is this also the one that lays out like property line boundaries? It tells you who owns what piece, so the
Yep.
treasurer uses it.
What do the other entities pay us for using it?
No, it's paid out of the general fund.
We've paid it out of sales tax for the last many years. And we have not, you're saying we haven't charged out to other departments?
I mean, it sounds like a lot of other entities have used it.
Yes.
City of Gossel, those are the only 3 cities who are actively using it. I'd assume she uses it for the same reason, probably planning and zoning or building permits.
Peabody doesn't use it.
I didn't see anybody who was from the city of Peabody.
Do
active.
real estate people use it?
Do what?
Local realtors, do they use it?
Realtors can use it. One thing is that we are typically a government, and we only work with government agencies, whether that's at the state, county, or city level. So realtors are welcome to come into Nikki's office and say, hey, I want to look at this, but the
We
way
don't
the
give- we don't
you
give
can't.
the
Yeah, you can't resell it. That would be the only thing.
County offices, planning and zoning use it as a secondary site for when their GIS is down. They use it for the history to see changes on properties, ads, or demos. Pictometry stores several years of images back to 2005.
So as long as, I mean, she said 2005, you guys have been a customer with Pictometry/Eagle View that long. Just because you sign up, refresh your imagery does not mean that you lose the old stuff. And that means also online and a physical hard delivery. So if you ever have to go offline, it is still at, you still have it at your hands.
So we can go back to 2006, see owned the property then?
Or see how it's changed.
Or see how
Yeah,
it's
well,
changed,
we
yeah.
know today, but.
Or see the empty lot.
Yep, you can see an empty lot, and then today it could have a house or something on it.
Except the pixels will be way worse.
It will be. I will promise that. It'll be much worse.
You'll see
They also use it for property lines. Brandon stated the images are more clear than the other GIS software that they're using. Emergency management uses it for planning of large events within the county. Currently uses it, well, he's currently using it for the planning of that motorcycle race in Florence, and has used it for arts and crafts fair and other events of that nature. They've also used it for natural disasters in the area.
And not to interrupt you, Nikki, but that's another good point. On the contract, it is put in there, hurricanes, natural disaster, flood, and not flooding, and one other, events happen, and we either be here at cost or for free, depending on the side of the event. So I know, I live in Kansas as well. Tornadoes are a big deal.
I think the clerks use it. Sharon said she uses it for splits and cleaning.
I use it quite often.
Does the zoning department has another program?
We have, yes, we have multiple programs in the county.
Can we get rid of one?
What?
Can we get rid of one and use this one program?
They do different things,
Mhm.
so it wouldn't,
Okay.
the things that we're using, I mean, it would be nice if we could, but they do different things.
You can't do it all.
We're working on it. Coders can only write code so fast.
Do other counties allow other governmental agencies within their counties use it for free?
They do. It really just depends on the county. A lot of times, if it's a first-year county, first project, they'll be like, okay, you can have a login, but this is on the basis that next time you're going to put into your budget. A lot of times, what we have is either the appraiser or the general fund will, supply the bulk of the project, and then they'll charge offhand depending on area of the city or the other entity. They'll break that down by percentage, or they'll say, okay, you pay for Connect this year, you pay for Connect that the next year.
I just think the cities that are using it ought to have a little skin in the game.
Well, that was the initial intent when we first got it, was to charge this other entity. So I don't know if we did it the very first time and then never did again, or kind of where that ball landed. But they've been used to using it for no charge, it sounds like, for many years now.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate to that one. If we're using sales tax, your power generators for sales tax comes from those cities, so.
It's a little return on the.
Yeah.
Return on investment.
As long as it's sales tax, if we're using something else.
How do your budget be different?
Our office uses it daily. We use the imaging for going out into the field, or when a taxpayer comes in and has questions, we'll pull up their property so that they can see it. Images are clear and are useful for our field staff. If staff cannot get to a building, they can measure it via pictometry, excluding new construction, because we do physically measure new construction. Discovery of new buildings has been made easier with pictometry before going to a property. And we can also use the history to get an estimate of a year built. Staff also uses it for property lines during reinspection and to help locate where they need to be. Debbie feels pictometry is a bonus to our office because each staff member is able to access the maps and it's easy to navigate.
That's a pretty good list.
Yeah, that's what it's all used for.
Very good. Well, I guess I'm convinced on the value of the product as it is, but Nikki, can you help me a little bit? If we improve the resolution in the rural areas, is there a good payback for that, in your opinion?
I think so. I don't know what we got in 2013.
You got 9-inch on, so think about it's split.
Mhm.
You got your really good resolution at 3-inch in those cities, but
Right.
in the rural areas, a 6-inch ortho, which means just the straight down,
Right.
and then a 9-inch on your obliques.
Okay.
So while the 6-inch is good on an ortho from a software GIS perspective, it's not as good in the obliques. Once you zoom in, and what Nikki's doing is appraisal, you're using measuring tools, area tools, those kinds of things. The pixels are a little bit pixelated, so you're gonna have a better accurate measurement in the long run.
I can tell you, I go back to our old maps. I think our first flight, I don't know how close that was. I think it was a better quality than what we've had in the past. And I will go back to that because the houses are clear, or your buildings are clear, so I don't know what we were using
I bet you were
back.
6-inch. I can stop sharing and look that up.
So the higher resolution would have a benefit.
Mhm.
Yeah,
guess
I
I'm
believe
just
we
trying-
went to the lower resolution in the rural areas because I'm not sure the commission was really in agreement about whether to do a flight at that time or not, and so that got the cost
That
down.
was the compromise.
I mean,
If I remember right, I mean, I haven't looked back at the minutes or anything to.
It pay for itself, probably.
You know,
I find-
I know I measure a lot of like the upper floor living
Mhm.
from pictometry. I mean, we can do it in the field, it's probably just more accurate with pictometry than standing under a roof.
How many structures have you found in the last year?
Oh, from pictometry?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
6 to 60.
We found, some cabins out on land.
Does the program
Couple.
flag new structures?
We do have and that's an add-on. We do have a program that does flag, not just new, but new, changed, demolished, or existing. So not only are you catching your little cabins on the river, you're also getting your additions, new porches, that kind of stuff. And you can do that. It's based by parcel. It's 83 or 4 cents a parcel. You don't have to do the whole county when you do that. You can do just parts of the county. But that is an option. And once you get that add-on, and then you continue to have that add-on, It's based off of years of flights, so you have to do 2 flights, so you have a baseline and a change. But from then on, you're just doing your change, so that pricing drops to around 44 cents a parcel. So we've had a lot of counties do that, and they see the payback because you're catching all of that. But that just depends per county and what your growth's like.
And we have over 12,000 parcels, I believe. Yeah.
Commissioner Dalkey, you have a comment?
$10,000 option.
Yeah, go back to your first slide there. Show the blue colors. That's your company? Did I understand that right? That that's what you're right up through the middle is what you have. That's what you're flying.
I mean, we're flying that on a contractual basis, yes. And like I said, this is a little bit outdated. Jackson County has been added, and there's another one if I can.
What do you know if there's another company out there flying the same area or doing the same thing for the other counties, or is that some of your competition?
I mean, there's always competitors. I will say that there's been a 911 flight that's happened, but that's on a 12-inch resolution, which we don't even do because it's not even worth it. But that's more for your counties as you get out into western Kansas, where there's a lot of area and there's not very many people. We do have competitors. We're the only oblique firm that will give you a physical copy of your imagery. All the rest are based on a subscription model, where as soon as you don't pay your yearly subscription, you lose all your imagery. There are also different licensing terms where you can't seamlessly pan, you can't overlay your GIS data. There's a lot of things that with EagleView come standard that you won't get in other companies, including integrations with your county softwares. So depending on the different softwares in each county department, we can integrate with them so they're not using 6 different platforms. You just push a button and it comes out wherever they're at in their program.
I do agree. We've started this, and it's a very nice addition to have. But I just see a lot of counties. I wonder what the other counties are doing.
Well, I will say the counties in western Kansas, like I said, they want it. Ellsworth, Stafford, and what's the other one Carl has? They have been customers in the past, and they can't do it because the population's not there. I work with Carl, the appraiser there, almost on a yearly basis, and he's a great guy, but he can't get the funding for it, and that's what it boils down to in most of western Kansas.
Correct. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Well, again, I think I'm going to ask for temperature on the commission. Is there support for continuing, at least the first question is at least at the current basis, continuing the program? Okay, the second question of temperature I'm going to ask, is there interest in getting a quote for an improved quality product?
It sounds like it would maybe pay for itself in the long run and make you do a better job.
So,
easier.
I know budgeting's a big deal, and if you don't go through the Arpa funding, I will say we break down your payments into yearly payments, no interest, no fees, so it makes it more feasible. From an Arpa standing, the stipulation is that the projects have to be completed by 25 and paid out by 26. So new pricing, we could get on a new contract where you're only obligated to the first one. The second one would be, respected at that whatever that cost is at that time, in 3-4 years, but you wouldn't be obligated contractually to it. So if you go through the quoting process and you don't like it, that's fine. You still have the 105. If you do like it, you're guaranteed for a second project at that same price for same products. But you don't have to do it if you guys don't have the budget at that time. So there are pros to switching if you want the upgrade.
I think there's been lots of additions this past 18 months. People can't travel, so they've been building at home. Just ask all the local lumber yards, all the small jobs and construction, so you probably stumble across now. I mean,
I don't see most of them. Probably all inside the original.
well, no, but so you have been additions on too.
You have your proposal in writing?
I don't have it at this moment, but I can give it to you probably within the next 2 business days.
Maybe send your proposals to us and we can.
That's what she was waiting to see if there was interest before going to the work of doing it. So that's what I'm trying to gauge, if there's interest.
I think there's the interest in.
Jonah, you had a comment?
I think we've we've outlined everywhere we're gonna be probably spending the ARPA funds. So I think we need to, if we're gonna do it, we need to ask her to quote it, not counting on the ARPA.
Right, it'll be a sales tax project.
That's fine. I just want to present all options. That's fine. Once I get the proposals ready for the new contract term, we'll cancel this contract as is, start on a fresh 6-year 2-project contract.
It's gonna be cheaper.
I don't know that it'll be cheaper.
Nice try though, nice try.
But I think it'll be better in comparison as far as price to resolution as, you know, from what we've had historically.
Very good. Well, I see it as an incredibly valuable tool for multiple departments, for the county as a whole, and for the citizens.
So we can cut down on gas, driving to places.
So yeah, with the gas prices at the moment.
Well, he looks at me.
Bryce can see the cracks in the pavement.
Yes,
I was thinking more of the fuel and not the gas, but you know.
Yeah, fuel. Either.
My next question is, we can work on resolution, is there interest in that add-on of the structures being changed, new, demolished, or existing?
I would like to see that.
Okay.
I would like to see that.
And,
The automatic flag.
okay,
That would save some.
That's something they'll pay for.
It'll just be like, well, the computer threw it up, you know.
and then you have somebody physically review it, and you've gone, and we even have a part of that software that you can put in your additional estimated value, and we've seen counties that it pays for itself and then some. So I can quote those out in 2 different ways, and then whenever it comes time, if you guys are okay and want to go with that add-on, we'll smush it all into one contract.
Sounds great.
All right. I don't think I have any other information. Do you guys have any more questions?
Smush it. Smush it.
Combine it, that's probably a better way to say it.
That's the GIS term.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a techie term.
Yes.
I appreciate your terminology.
I'm a GIS person, so.
Layman's terminology.
Yes.
Alexander, we appreciate the presentation. It was educational for me, my first time through it. So I see it as an incredibly valuable tool.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki, for bringing it to us.
I have a salary change.
Okay.
After
all of
After all of that.
Oh, we're spending all the money.
It's for Mike.
You better
Do you want me to
just
sit down
pass
there?
that through Dave Crowfoot over there.
There you go.
It's for Mike, for him taking on more.
We gotta keep this proper. I was just joking around.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. We have salary change for Michael Hurst from 2414 to 2463, effective February 21st. Reassignment of duties to include inspection of sales, data collection, entry of sales, maintenance of records, and this is in the appraiser's office.
I go. Yeah.
Randy, are you okay with me using your stamp on that salary sheet?
Yes.
Thank you.
What else do you have, Vicki?
That's it.
Got a few phone calls about appraised values going up. They are not happy.
Those
So
letters
it's
did
all
come
right.
out this week.
So, is there anything you want to announce publicly so we can maybe limit some of them so it's out there?
We did put we
I
ran.
mean, I know it's the state's fault. It's the state's fault, right?
Kind of. We used 4 years of sales in our data. Obviously, this past year, the market was just kind of crazy, outrageously priced. So, we're kind of thankful we have those other 3 years in there because it kind of held it back some. We did run an ad in the free press because that was where our re-inspection area was. It was the same legal ad that legal notice that we put in the Marion County Record, but we ran it as an ad in the free press to kind of let that area know what they could do. I know our market trend was 0 to 22% in real estate. I don't think we got anyone to the 22%. I think a lot of it stayed around 10 or 12% increases. They have until March 30th to appeal, call our office and appeal. Of course, appeals are better than payment under protests because it can be done before you guys ever see the budget or a tax bill goes out. So they're kind of taken care of before certification, so they do have that option, they can just call us.
Is there a ballpark per residence per thousand that they would look at for their taxes? Property taxes?
You mean the mill levy?
Yeah, so ballpark per $1,000 of assessed, because that's what everybody's noticing, their assessed value went up. So
Right.
I'm sure if there was a heads up on what they would.
You can, well, cities are different than counties.
Right.
I mean, 1,000, houses are 11.5%.
The main concerns I got called about were county houses, so.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna depend on all the taxing entities' mill levy rate
Mhm.
and their budgets. So there's not a way to really,
Right.
You could look at
And
last year's tax bill for last year's levy.
Yeah, you
this
could,
coming year.
you could use
You
last year's mill levy, but of course, you don't know what the mill levy's gonna do until the mill levy's
right, so
set.
you would have to, you could take your previous year value times the mill levy rate, take your new assessed value
Mhm.
times the mill levy rate, and that gives you an estimate, and it's,
I was done. Yeah.
That's the
so
only
that
way
would,
you
that would be
accurate.
how you'd be able to tell what the change would be.
Right.
Out in the county, I usually just, I mean, as a ballpark, if I'm not somewhere where I have a mill levy sheet, I usually use like 15%, which I think is higher than most mill levies out in the county. So that comes out to like $17 per $1,000 assessment. For $1,000 appraised, sorry.
Yeah, not assessed.
And of course, you know, I did
It's
hear,
it's a privilege to pay taxes.
But the mill levy rate is based on assessed, so,
Right.
yeah,
yeah.
so
You gotta do that calculation.
Yeah.
with the added value, you know, the levies have the authority to change that too, so.
Okay, well, we'll be sure if anyone has any questions, they call Jonah.
No,
Okay.
they
All
really,
right.
we lowered the mill levy last year. And then this
Then
comes
the
along.
appraisals,
Right.
yeah. But in the market world,
Yeah,
values have.
I get it. It's just, we try to do something positive.
Right,
It goes
which,
the
I
other
mean, with
way.
the added value, you could be looking at, you know,
When you sell, you get more money.
and the levies could change too, again, so, with the added value, which would change your tax bills too.
Right.
Ag land's gonna be affected big time the next few years.
Wasn't this year.
It wasn't this year. It's on, that's on a 10-year average, but it lags behind like 2 years, so it kind of takes a while for that data to
Right.
really affect.
And it's gonna hit.
And it's on rent, market rent and commodities versus what it sells for, so.
All right, well, thanks for the great news.
Anytime. Hopefully this year will be a little bit better on sales, which will help us.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Bryce?
Well, we've talked about it numerous times, nobody really comes into the courthouse happy. And when they leave, typically they're not any happier, so, anyway. Well,
Usually every bit of that conversation revolves and then it reverts back to you.
all right, well, thanks for making time today. I had some things come up. I do have 2 utility permits, I'd like to have signed off on for some boring and for phone lines and stuff.
Okay, the first one is Mound Ridge Telephone Company, 90th and Goldenrod. And the second one is Mound Ridge Telephone Company, 170th and Diamond. And you've looked at both of those,
Yep.
and everything's good to go. Do we do action on those, or do we just?
You've done it both ways. It doesn't matter to me.
As long as someone signs down the bottom.
Last time, you just signed them.
All right, then we will be consistent.
Okay.
We will follow the county engineer's recommendation.
Again, full time.
So next time you come in, you just say your recommendation is done.
Gotcha.
For them to sign.
Yep, yep.
Randy's showing a picture of something.
Oh, uh-oh. Probably a road.
No, it was a big, looked, I don't want to say what.
What do you have next for us?
Transport fuel bid. As you can imagine, the prices are skyrocketing now. So, two bidders, MFA and EPS. My recommendation is for EPS.
So moved.
That's the last recommendation, you didn't
Okay.
take an action.
Yeah. Obviously, you can see compared to what we have been paying, so I don't foresee that, just excellent.
It might be nice to read that out so people online would know what
All right,
they
we have two bids.
The first one, the EPS didn't get put on their boots for EPS.
Oh, okay, there we go. EPS, total of $31,233. Second bid from MFA Oil, $31,536.65.
How much higher is that than it was the same figure 2 months ago?
About
Probably
14,000.
It's 17,000.
I think
Yeah.
so, almost twice, yeah.
That's
And you know,
what I
the,
was thinking, but I just
Yeah,
wasn't
I
quite
was
sure.
gonna say, I think I remember seeing it somewhere around the 16, 18 range.
well, and the other thing is, Co-op did not bid. They haven't bid since October of last year, due to the volatility, and I don't, you know, like even what you said, I don't see it going down anymore. The transport's a little bit tied into because it's immediate, but the area fuel, when you're basing on delivering fuel all month based on the prices today, that's why we're paying so much there as well, so.
And it was for 8,000 gallons. So do we have a motion to approve the bid from EPS, $31,233?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gearing, second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
Sorry, who was the second? Was it Commissioner?
Becker.
Okay, thank you.
Got the mail over the weekend. We received a check from $286,679.14 from FEMA through the state. So that finally came in, and we still have to go through the state portion for another 15%. So anyway, just let you know that it came in, and
2019?
yes, for the 2019.
That's a very significant milestone.
Well, it is.
The hours that were put into that, the days,
Long
the
time
years
coming. Yeah.
that were put
Yeah.
into that,
Well, like I said, now there's, the way I understand it, once this whole process is done, it's supposed to kick the next check mark to the state. So the state will come in and do their portion too, which should be just to look at what's there and then agree with it. So we'll follow up with that as well. So, talked to you last week about the CDL testing, and found out from Hutch Community College. I found out that the city of Marion is actually working with the Kansas Municipal Utilities, and they are actually establishing their own training as well. I was contacted by the city saying that they want to train 2 of their employees, and then they would in turn train our guys for I believe the number mentioned at the time was $800 a piece. Now, one of the things I brought up was the city does not have a tractor trailer. So how would they be able to certify Class A drivers? So I guess I'm asking, I talked to Tom and he didn't see a problem with it. Would it be possible for us to allow them to use our semi-tractor and the water tanker that we don't use very often to practice with? And then if they needed to use the tractor trailer and the lowboy, which is a lot better truck and everything else, if we were allowed them to use that for training with reduction in price and or nothing. The biggest problem we face is just putting one of our own people out there with our tractor and trailer to let these guys practice. Takes our tractor trailer out there and one more person. If we had somebody else to do that, still could provide the truck, just a thought. That way it also, they wouldn't have to go out and rent one or whatever else too.
We'd have to buy the fuel.
Well, yeah, those are all conditions we could do. I mean, it typically doesn't take a lot of fuel because most of it's done like at the South Shop or whatever they choose. Yeah.
Well, they're not actually getting on the road because
Yeah.
it'd be.
I think you'd still need to check with the insurance.
Well, and I mean, those are all conditions to work with, whatever that liability may be. But it's just a thought. We don't have to do it at all either. we could just go with the $800, which is half of what it was through Hutch Community College as well.
If you have an opportunity to work together, partner, then maybe you have a future employee you can poach from.
Well- Okay, poach employees. Anyway, I will.
That's why I said partnership.
Yeah, I will get back with him.
No, the more employees we have trained and the
There you
better
go.
job we do, it's
Yeah.
better for everybody.
Yes.
Marion County residents, we're gonna train them.
Well, you know, like I said, it's, when I mentioned that, he was like, oh, you know, so he, but, I mean, because they worry about dump trucks and things like that.
Is there any opposition with the addressing the concerns?
Yeah,
that
I'll
mentioned?
get back with him
Good.
and get back with you guys.
All right.
Let's see. Last week, Tuesday, spent the whole day with Terracon on Indigo and 190th. Basically, confirmed the conditions that are out there. We have 2-ish, maybe up to 4 inches of asphalt, and that varies in places. And then we have the cold mix and stuff like that down below. So it shows you that we do not have enough structural carrying capacity, especially on Indigo. I did not get any information. They're supposed to be getting me a recap. I was able to stay with them on Indigo all the time, and then I had to come back to a meeting here when they did 190th. But I'm guessing 190th should have more asphalt simply to do that. So anyway, when I get that back, I'll get a recap to you guys, let you show what's going on, and then proceed with, which I think would be the same thing, the overlays on Indigo, as well as the trying to do the 2-inch on 190th, and does some numbers and stuff like that for you. So anyway, just want to let you know we were out there, and we had it all done in about 6 hours time or so. So I was kind of impressed how fast it went. So I not extremely 100% sure, but I'm guessing that we did not get the high-risk rural roads for 290th. Nothing official yet, but kind of that, I understand it's still waiting on the governor's approval and then the public notice. But one of my contacts said, well, he says, I wouldn't hold out hope for it or something to that effect. So anyway, doesn't look good. The reason I bring that up is because the cost share deadline for this one is the 17th, next Thursday. So my question is, do we still want to proceed with the other half, or from Nighthawk East on 290th and turn that one in for the cost share? That's kind of, we had talked about it, I just wanted to make sure. So.
We've got to proceed with it even if the other one doesn't come through. Then we approach another avenue for that funding.
Okay.
Because in fact, I just talked to Representative Barker this morning.
Okay.
And he was asking, he has a contact in the governor's office, and they hadn't given him the answer either.
Yeah.
Same information you have that's on their desk, I just haven't seen
And
it. But he's assured me if it doesn't, that there are other avenues.
Right.
So we still need to proceed with the other.
I figured as much, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes,
So,
yes, and we do not want to miss that deadline.
Okay. Had interviews, and I hired a good office assistant one. She starts tomorrow. I don't know, did Terry get you a salary sheet, Tina? Yeah? Do you know? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. We just talked this morning. I didn't know if she got it turned around for you or not, so. But anyway, so we'll have that next week.
That was quick.
We had 6 very good applicants. I was very, very impressed. For the kind of position and the kind of interview, I thought it was probably one of the best tools that I've ever interviewed for. So I'm also going to pass on those applicants that we obviously didn't select to other people in the county that may be looking for people. Like I said, it was a very, very good round.
That's good news.
Yeah. So anyway, we look at it that.
Can I have them?
I knew it. I see him. Just like one of the commissioners are like that.
We've been, come on, you know. So,
good news.
yes, and follow up with last week. We talked about the used motor graders that were available. I found out this morning they are still available. They are available for us until we say no. You chose to get more information. Well, here's the new information. I hope you're sitting down. Motor graders currently to purchase now, which would be available at the end of December, first of the year, $413,945.53. Again, 413-945-53.
This December 22.
Yes, so they've gone up another $40,000, and we still get them by the end of the year. So, I totally understand, sticking with the new motor graders. I honestly don't know if the prices are going to go down. Don't know. But I guess it goes to show you that we have a substantial, even greater investment in this equipment. I mean, either way, I'm passing on the information to you, what you want to do. So
Still come to the
Refresh
6 year.
me on the prices on those two.
the ones, those are like $372,000 for the ones that we actually purchased last year. That would be.
I mean, the two that you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of them is a 2017 with 2,822 hours, $258,000. And then we have a 2016 with 1,929 hours for $265,000.
So 16 is,
Less hours. Well, the 16 has less hours,
oh,
so that's why.
We can get 2 graders for about the price of a new one.
Well, again, that to say they're new, they're not new. They do have hours. They don't have a lot of hours, but
would you say the ones we purchased last were?
they were like 372,000, something like that.
And they have been through their shop and will carry a 2-year warranty.
Yes, they were the parts and hydraulic warranty until 12/22/25, so it'll be 3 years or 4,000 hours.
Okay, 3 years or 4.
Well, that's what that is on the 2017. On the 2016, it's 2 years or 2,000 hours. So.
Commissioner Dalkey, I know we had a discussion about this earlier. Would you like to make a few comments?
No, I'm gonna let you guys,
Oh.
you know how I feel. I think that just I heard Dave Crowfoot, I think, say you get 2 almost for the price of a new one. I'm not really, from what I've seen sitting here, 2,000 hours on a machine. I think we'll get the lifetime out of it. If you want to take and put a rotation on later, these would probably come out first. Later on in the rotation, if we ever get to that. So I sort of thought a plan, but yes, whether we could find the money in our budget to do this, if we find the cash, I think we need to do it. Or fund somehow.
I'm going to follow up on a comment Commissioner Becker made last week that really stuck with me. We've got some machines we've got to get rid of.
Right.
And if we wait another year to get rid of them, I'm getting concerned about that.
Yeah.
Where if we can get the 2 new machines, get the 2 used machines, we can get the 4 worst machines out of our fleet at a time of prime value.
Yeah.
I'm wholeheartedly behind the new fleet program, but just in light of the current situation,
These are
we
different.
at least need to consider.
Yeah.
Have you-
Consideration.
I think in normal times, you stick with the
Your plan.
rotation. These aren't normal times.
Right.
A year from now, I mean, we're still getting, our last lease purchase was what, 215?
Yeah, I think 2.15, I believe.
The Fed's talking about at least 3, maybe 4 rate hikes this year. I mean, if you're just, even if you're looking at a 4% rate next year, on that much money is substantial.
Right.
what did you say, 2 new machines, 2 used machines?
Well,
You're talking
we've
So you
already,
got the
we have
two
2
new
coming.
ones.
We have 2 coming, and otherwise, our next 2 wouldn't be rotated until the end of the year, basically 2023.
Yeah.
But we've got at least 4 machines that gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
He also told me that he saw where John Deere was selling their entry-level motor grader, which Cat doesn't even have. No ripper, no front lift group, no front wheel assist, and everything else. That listing was for $257,000 just for that. So it's across the board. Everybody is going up. I wish I had a crystal ball and could tell you what's going to happen next year, but I just don't know.
I'm gonna come back to my main
Would we
concern.
release
is the-
these?
Well, we could do the same thing with going out for financing.
Oh, yeah.
All we really need to do is say, if we want these, I'll sign on the dotted line, they'll hold them. He also told me that there's a couple other machines coming in that people are talking about buying them even before they come in. So they're like anything else, they can't get new equipment, they're looking to get what they can.
Have you seen these? Or
I have not, but I
do you know
have.
what they're replacing on them or anything like that? Or?
Most of them will stick with the same machines.
No, I mean, when they go into the shop, what repairs are they making to them?
Most of these shouldn't have repairs. These
Okay.
are, being in townships, they should have been set up with a maintenance program or whatever else, and
And the new ones you said we can't get till.
the two new ones, if we ordered them now, his best guess was December of this year and January of next year.
They were supposed to have them last December.
But we didn't have to start making payments on them until we
they
received them.
yes, until they show up. Yes.
So we'll have to pay higher interest by then.
So I'm.
Well, but this has already been done with the 2.15, those two. Now these two would obviously, if you want to do the same thing, but it's just a matter of saying, yes, we'll take them, and then,
I'm gonna throw this out there. Go ahead and grab these two and sign up for the next two. Knowing that we won't have to pay them until next year. That keeps us on rotations, that way we don't get further behind come the end of the year.
Tina, you have
Because
some advice.
we haven't even started paying.
You gotta start figuring these payments into the
Budgeting and
budget.
finance payments, give us some
Well, we were
warning.
already supposed to have something on the
Right,
books.
but give us some warnings.
These four replace the four that gotta go. The
That's-
two new ones, and if we buy these.
yeah.
If
You
you
get
don't-
rid of the four that you need to get rid of.
Yeah.
So why
Well,
don't you
and
get these?
honestly, who's to say, that was just as of March of this year. If we wait a couple months, we may have better, more information, for down the road. I don't know. I mean, I can't speculate, so,
Because we're already, what, a year behind?
pretty much. I mean, we started talking about that about March of last year, and I believe we finally signed it in, July, August, somewhere around there.
I think you're gonna find lots of counties and townships and cities that are in the same boat.
Yep.
And these are gonna be gone
Right.
when they
Yeah.
hit the door.
Right, but it comes back to, it's still a quality machine. It's not the mistake that's been made in the past of getting a sub-performing machine.
Right, no.
We're still getting a quality machine that fits into our long-term
Plan.
quality. Okay, right, Commissioner Dahlke has a comment.
Ken, what you just said was, did you mean to, I asked him last week about getting to a number. I think 12 is what he wanted to get to. At my best recommendation, that we have 14 to 15 or 16 graders right now.
Yes.
So, not just replace Kent, but I think we need to get rid of the extras that's, instead of having 14 or 15 or 16 around. I don't know, unless Bryce can come up with a better plan to show me why we need that many around.
No, I mean, I agree with you. The reason we've had so many of the ones back in the H's was because of throwing guys in those blades when the others have broke down. By getting back into the newer machines or better machines, they won't break down as much. We won't need as many of those backups.
But until that top
Yeah.
tier or bottom tier is gone.
Because honestly, we
need
just
the backups.
lost another one today, broke the circle drive, just going around down the road, So, I mean, you just, but yeah, I want to get rid of excess equipment. There's no doubt about it. We don't need it, so.
Okay, I'm going to divide it up from what I'm hearing from the commission into two processes. The first one, to used machines. Do I hear support for proceeding with the two used machines? I see two hands, 3, 4. Okay, do I have a motion to proceed?
I would make the motion that we purchased a 2017 and the 2016 motor graders, Caterpillar, used.
The 2017 was for $258,000. The 2016 was for $265,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Crowfoot, second by Commissioner Becker. Discussion.
How soon do you take possession?
Well, I mean, that, they're in their shop going through that now. We gotta worry about, get the financing, whatever you wanna do, if you wanna go back.
30
to it.
days.
I would think so. Like I said, the main thing is just, we just put our name on the line and we got them.
Okay. And the financing part of it, the commission plan is to proceed as we did on the new units,
Lease purchase.
lease purchase.
How many years do you want me to seek?
What did we do on the new ones?
6.
6 years, yeah.
Why don't we go to 5? I think we could maybe shorten it up just a little bit based on price.
Okay, is that agreeable?
Yes.
Okay, lease purchase on 5-year. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion carried. Thank you for bringing that information.
Okay, no problem.
I think there was some, after last week, there's been some further.
Yeah. Well, I was totally shocked when that new price came in. I was like,
Yes.
wow, you know, so.
Yes, yes, we've got to be proactive.
Sure. Along the same lines, been looking at a different shop pickup for Tom. We're about 230,000 miles. He said the motor's getting kind of weak on it. So we've looked at trying to buy new and everything else. We found online Midway in McPherson. There was 2 trucks that they already have put together. They are government service with GSA, whatever they're government service, whatever. The 2 they have available that we like, both of them have Tommy lifts on them already. But we could get those and then get rid of Tom's truck also with a Tommy lift on there. But I'd be really cautious about putting money back into a truck that old. It still has the same
61
transmission and everything else. The one is they're both 14s, I believe. The one only has 17,000 hours on it.
Miles?
Miles, sorry, yes. Looked at that, that's the silver one. The red one has, was it 67,000 miles?
Yeah.
61.
Yeah, anyway, Tom said he would be happy with either one of them. But obviously the one with less miles is more money, but, you know, anyway, I just get your input. I'd like to, you know, ask to get either one of them to replace that truck, so.
And this would have been in your budget?
Yeah.
Replacement.
Yeah. And he originally quoted the same prices on there. When I called him back, he said he knocked $400 off of it. So
Okay.
Plus the dog breath.
we could probably ask for that too, but it's just,
That's what always asks me.
yeah. That's for to print off a couple copies and get signatures on them. So,
To make you wait a month for the title.
yeah, I just.
How much does he use that?
Well, they use it several. I mean, geez.
I mean, mileage wise.
Well, not a lot of miles. I mean, it's 2,000 and it's got 230,000. So when you divide them, it's about 11,000 a year.
Yeah.
So.
1,000 miles a month.
What do you have a recommendation? for
Well,
this?
I mean, as far as the trucks and everything else, I wouldn't mind having the one with lower miles on it. You wouldn't think that would have any problems either, but yet both of them are government vehicles. You'd think they'd have a great maintenance program, you know.
Lower miles, probably a city truck.
For $6,000 difference.
Yeah, you know. So like I said, either way, I think he, but like I said, he looked.
Oh, I'm sorry. For Commissioner Dalkey, the first 214 Super Duder. He shouldn't let me read. I should make Tina read it. 250, $40,988, $300 fee, but then you take off $400, so $40,900, and that has 17,000 miles. The other 2014 Super Duty 250 would be 34,000, so 6,000 less, and it has 61,000 versus 17,000 miles.
Okay, thank you.
Both of them are also set up with receiver hitches on the back of them to pull trailers, wired for trailers as well. So
Both of them are too old to have any warranty left on them.
I think they had through them was either a 6-year or 6 month, or whatever it was, yeah, but for the most part. But again, I really can't see too much going wrong with them for that old truck and not having that many miles on it.
So you have to replace the belts on that low mileage one. but we never had
Well,
that.
I mean, we just look at the fact is the trucks, but, just looking at an engine and transmission with the other one, you're still dealing with the suspension, it's,
I'd make a motion to proceed with the purchase of the 2014 F-250 with 17,000 miles. And you've got the 40,998.
4,998 plus.
Plus
Yep.
3 minus 4, so
Yep.
40,898.
And I can get this back to you.
Second. Okay, second by Commissioner Gary. Further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay.
Okay.
Motion carried 5-0.
All right, the only other thing would be I believe you talked about it with Brad, the executive session for the road issues, so.
Yes, we had criminal trespass on the road, blading gravel off the rock on Saturday. Brad's consulting with the county attorney on the process to prosecute, so that individual will be reprimanded.
All right, Dave, if you need anything else from me, or?
He is not to be on the road. If he does, he will get another citation.
Yeah. To go back and fix
Need you
it.
to go back and spread the rock the way it was supposed to be, or the way it was, and count for your time, and
Any
try
lost material.
to judge the lost material.
Sure, okay,
Yep.
sounds good.
We will be following up on that.
Okay, sounds good.
We
Anything
need,
else?
we need that value.
Yep, okay.
I just wanted to go back to the grader thing.
Okay.
I might be beating a dead horse.
No. I'm
But-
sorry, it moved on before I got to I said 2 parts. This
Yeah.
is the second part.
The,
The new
fact-
machines.
The new machine, the fact that it's so far out. Do we pull the trigger ahead of time, knowing that for every month we put it out, it's another month or 2, or depending on how backlogged they get.
It'll be a 2023 delivery.
I mean, there's certain items out there that are 2 years out.
Yeah, one of the things that I guess I could say is based on his recommendation, or his best guess that he's being told, if they're saying December and January delivery, if purchased now, that could cause it to roll things back into the 22 budget, where if you waited a month or 2 and it did get pushed off until spring of 23, then it would go in the 23 budget.
Right.
But you had a 10% increase in
Well,
price.
I would think that,
That's kind of the part
Yeah,
I'm getting
yeah.
at too. This locks in this price.
We can always delay
Jumps
purchasing of
another.
it.
well, now here's something else too. I can talk to him and say, hey, can we guarantee 2023 delivery? I mean, that's simple enough.
I know you're on it, but I'm buying inventory clear into 2023 right now.
Yeah.
We can always refuse it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I am thinking. That's where my frame
Yeah.
line is coming from.
You're borrowing now to save down the road.
Just so you got something to sell.
But in the case of the county.
We're
you're
doing
not
the same thing. We're buying
borrowing
stuff
now.
Yeah, you're not
4
even
months before
borrowing.
we
it.
need it.
Well,
I do need to tell you, so you're
Okay.
aware.
Yes.
Though, that if you commit to it, by Kansas budget law,
Okay.
it's still, even if we don't accept delivery later, it
Right.
could come against your current year budget. It could be looked at as a violation if we don't have enough money. So just keep that in mind
No,
in your
I
plan.
get it, because
Okay.
you're committing a future commission to something.
So is it actually an encumbrance?
Well, it just depends on
Great.
what auditor you have.
Well, I don't want to do anything wrong. I just want to make sure that we seize opportunities
Good
before.
business.
Right, and I'm not saying don't do it, I just want you to know that we do have to consider that the current budget when you take that action. And then also, when I was doing the financials for special equipment, it doesn't appear that the 2021 budget included all of the payments that were supposed to be there, so I don't know.
So what about throwing this out there? If you thought about, maybe don't pull the trigger yet, but got two for the price of one.
Before the next price increase.
Do we think about one, getting one in the rotation? Instead of two new ones, get one to lock in that price too. But like I said, I'm gonna let Tina, since you brought that up, I'm gonna make sure we're not violating anything or doing
Well, as
anything.
long as the county has the money overall, we're okay.
Mhm.
You know, we just can't commit to something, even if we're gonna finance it.
Right.
If we don't, we can't commit to it if we don't actually have the money.
Okay, so even though we would do a financing on it, which would be, say, 20% of it, we still have to have the full
At the
amount.
time you take action and to approve the purchase,
You
you
have to
need
have
to
the
have the
full-
cash on hand to be able to buy it, even if you're gonna finance it. Then once you finance it, I mean, you're okay,
Right.
but you've gotta have
Right.
enough money to cover your commitment.
Mhm.
Because on all our financing, we actually write the check, and then it comes back
Right.
into
Well,
us.
we can do it either way, but the budget law says, Kansas budget law says you have to have the money before you can commit to it.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other projects that we are putting money aside for, which we haven't officially committed to. Can those funds be used for, it doesn't have to be in that specific bucket?
It just depends. It depends. Anything can be paid out of the general fund.
Okay.
And the capital improvement fund is all funded through the general fund.
Okay, so as long as we have funds in capital
So
improvement.
we have those funds.
And we do.
But, I mean, typically, we pay for equipment out of the special equipment
Correct.
fund, and that fund is not gonna have the money
No.
to pay all these payments, let alone to pay the price of a brand new
Right.
unit if you commit to it.
Right.
So,
Well, let me get back with him as well, to see what he can tell me. I mean, he's being told by his finance guys, delivery guys, whatever else, this is, so maybe they can follow up with more information. So anyway,
I don't see our supply chain getting fixed for a couple of years.
No, and I agree.
Not with all the
Yeah.
turmoil in the world.
Commissioner Gary's
yeah,
guidance.
they're so backlogged, you know. it's gonna
yeah,
take-
and I'm not trying to say don't do it. I
Right.
just want you to be aware
Right.
that you are
Right.
bound.
Let's
Yeah, even though you're trying to do the right thing, you
Right,
can still get in
exactly.
trouble.
You
I get
could,
it.
exactly.
Right. Well, let's have
Gonna be
Bryce
smart.
gather more information.
I just, you don't wanna pay that, you don't wanna pay that general, ever wanna get that general fund down to where you're only looking at a month or two
Right,
reserve.
yeah, right, and that's what our intent is still to finance, and also with Bryce getting more information, I guess have Tina review those numbers so that
Right.
we know exactly where we stand at this point.
Okay.
Because you've put together a good capital improvement plan, but a lot of those projects haven't been committed yet.
Right.
Once we do commit to those projects, then those numbers are gonna be critical.
Right.
Yeah, everything's gonna be.
Everything's gonna come at one time.
Sure. Okay, anything else?
Appreciate you coming up
Okay.
with
Yep, thank you.
that, for not being on the agenda.
Wait a minute,
Well,
Uh-oh.
wait a minute.
Here comes that picture again.
Let's see, here's something from Peabody. What happened in Peabody?
I can get to it here in a minute.
Got a picture on his phone.
picture on your monitor, it's about like this of him. I mean, it's just, it's right here.
Okay, in relationship to, I'd like to ask every commissioner, did they get a chance to see this rock that was spread out on the road? And if they did they see it in the pile that's been there for a year?
Where's
I
this?
did, I stopped, I had a chance and stopped at Lincolnville with when they was unloading the Lincolnville, spreading it out last week. And I'm just totally puzzled on the rock that we got, because I reached down in the middle of the pile and I picked this up and made a mud ball out of it. You can get it right in front of you
There
there.
you go.
Right
Yep.
there, yeah, you got it.
That is one big rock right in the middle, and the rest of it is mud. Now if this is the same stuff that was spread on 90th over there on Jonah and I's area, and that it did work together, I can see why it packed down and made a base with it all together. But I thought we was paying for high dollar rock, and even with high dollar rock, you get so much small granules and other things with that, but not mud. Bryce, I'd like to ask you, did you see this when we bought this?
No, I did not see any mud. If it's actually mud, yes, that is a problem. You know, honestly, when these trucks come in, we don't see the whole thing. It could have been, the fact is that got picked up by the loader operator when it was dumped in the trucks. We deal with that with all the material we get. Every now and then you get something like that. So the problem we have is that if we get too much of that, it obviously causes a problem. But I was not aware of that, and everything that I looked at on the road out there, I didn't see any big issues with mud. But I'm not saying there's none out there too. But unfortunately, that's what we deal with no matter what material we get. We get that in the sand as well, and a lot of it has to do with the loader operator. Probably the majority of it is loader operator getting too deep into the ground and picking up something. But we definitely watch for those and try to get them out of there because it's nothing but a mess if we leave them in there.
Where was this?
This was a whole pile. This wasn't just me just walking up and picking in the mud. I walked up into the middle of the pile and grabbed this out of there. And I didn't find no hard rocks except this big one that I think Mr. Beneke has been worried about. But I saw just very few big rocks. I didn't see nothing but this mud stuff, and I'm disappointed. When I pay $25 a ton or $20-some a ton, I expect to get rock.
Well,
And so,
yeah, I mean, I totally understand. I feel the same way. But like I said, when we put it out there on the road, I didn't see hardly any of those issues. But you know, I guess the other thing is that's maybe something we have to
on the road.
Yeah.
I was busy and I did not get to see it on the road to see how it spread, but
Right.
I asked the operator and he said that they had trouble. They had to get it out, blade it out, and sort of drag it out and then scoop it in the truck. And
Yeah.
it was still having some troubles. But when the former commissioner called me over to his 90th that day on what they was dumping out and they was having trouble getting it out of the road, I sort of resemble some of this stuff that was in this picture here of that being there that day, and I can understand if it's put back down together that it would make a good base and that's why it did set up, because it's you can see it made a heck of a snowball type effect there around the rock.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do that again, Commission, let's change our ways and do something different. That rock's got to be spread. It's got to be. I don't know about sitting around for a year. It's just not the proper way to do business, I don't believe. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
This is a pile of rock we had hauled in last year.
Yeah, that causes us other grief. You see the pile, and I want to know why it's not on the road.
You know, I mean, I stockpile it. It's there. I take it directly out there. You know,
I'm glad for all the roads you did spread rock on prior to the rain, hoping for the rain.
Well,
and we finally got it. So
yeah.
Hopefully that goal will come through.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we'll move back to administrative business. Tina.
Okay. In your packet, you did have some department revenue reports. Is this the right one? Okay. I did have minutes in there from February 28th. There has been a correction, and so you have corrected minutes on the table there for February 28th. I think we had Commissioner Euring motioning and seconding the same motion and the original version that went out. So
Glad you caught that.
that has been corrected for the February 28th minutes. And then on the table, you also have the minutes of March 4th.
All right, has everybody had a chance to review the February 28th minutes? Is there a motion to approve? Okay, we have a motion to approve February 28th minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. Further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Next, we have the minutes of a special meeting on March 4th. Is there a motion to approve?
Meeting adjourned 9:35.
We round to the nearest minute.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gearing to approve
I'll second
the minutes of March 4th, second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried, and thank you for attendance at that meeting.
I abstained on that, don't I?
Yes. One abstention.
Yes.
Yes, four, and one abstention. Thank you, Randy.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your packet, you had some additional financial information from Families and Communities Together. This is something that you had requested. I didn't really take time to review it, but this,
The budget.
you had asked for that information.
To
And-
approve their
Right,
request.
to approve their allocation request, before approving their allocation request, which is $6,000. And it's still tabled at this point, so I didn't know
We
if
need
you're
an
ready to take action on that.
Do we have a motion to approve the fact finding for $6,000?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Crowfoot. Further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carried
I
5-0.
abstain.
Okay, 4 in favor and 1 abstention. And thank you to the fact group for sending that information.
And Commissioner Becker, did you want to put, I usually put the reason that you abstained.
My wife works as an independent contractor for me.
Okay, thank you. We do have some change orders.
Oh, we're getting off too easy.
That's right.
Yeah, I just had to wait till the end this time.
the change orders. I want to take that sheet with me.
It's getting to us. Okay, there's the change orders.
Little hinged bar tops. Come out each way? Yeah. Trap you in there.
In your packet, you had a proposed proclamation for Severe Weather Awareness Week, which is actually this week. Don't know if the commission wants to adopt that.
So moved.
Yes, we have a motion by Commissioner Garing to approve the Severe Weather Awareness Week proclamation for this week. Is there a second?
Second it.
Commissioner Profit, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. 5-0.
Hope it didn't happen.
It's coming.
Okay, so we're gonna sign that. I just-
Later this month, I think.
Yeah. Fury on the plains, it's the weather, it's in Wichita, they do the thing in Tabor.
National Weather Service.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Kent. I was struggling there.
Get the title.
Okay, I do have some salary sheets.
All right, we have in Road and Bridge, Alberto Alonso, new employee, $2,536, new equipment, operator 1. For Road and Bridge gravel, Lawrence Lanning, $2,770, equipment operator 2. Marion County Treasurer, Michelle Miter, from $15.98 per hour to $2,300 per month. Change from 911 dispatcher to administrative specialist 1 in the treasurer's office.
Yep.
Susan Bird.
Right. They changed. Okay, we do have early checks. The total amount is $528.39.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garing, was there a second? Commissioner Becker, discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay.
Aye.
All 5-0.
These are mostly the bills from AT&T. They don't usually get here timely, and then, but if we don't pay them timely, they will try to shut us off, so.
It's about down.
That's the one for the pots.
No, well, I don't know. Just various ones. I didn't
That's right.
I didn't
That's not,
look.
that would be just here for the pots.
I didn't look at all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did include a proposal in your packet from the HR consulting firm, that if they wanted to, if we wanted them to provide, some limited services, what that might look like. And so, I don't necessarily need a decision today unless you're ready to move forward with something, but there are some certain limited areas that we probably need a little bit of assistance with, and it would be nice to be able to draw from that resource.
And that was Road and Bridge, Treasurer's Office, and there was a third office, right? Sorry, I should have.
It was basically kind of reviewing the job descriptions, making sure we're making
Yep.
changes appropriately, to helping us develop a career path for certain departments. And
It was entire salary schedule.
Okay.
And the salary ranges from targeted road and bridge.
well, and if we did a salary, an entire new salary schedule, that's not what we had asked them
No.
for. So
Yes.
I'm not asking approval for either one of those for salary
Correct.
schedules. It's only for the work outlined at the top, potentially on an hourly basis. They're estimating, so on that first page, it kind of gives an overview of the hourly cost and what their typical amount is that they charge and how long they think it might take to do that, just a limited scope of work. And so we're looking at
Roughly
about $1,000 just for some limited work.
Something that's needed.
Yeah, it is.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Gary to accept the contract.
McGrath.
Consulting
Do we have to
services.
choose who we want to work on it?
But just an amount not exceed 1,000
Yeah, that's what I.
or a little higher?
Needs to be a little higher, because it's.
15,
Yeah, okay. So I will amend my motion to be that.
not to exceed 1,500.
Okay, so this is to allow us to utilize McGrath HR Group for a limited scope of work, not to exceed $1,500, is that?
Yep.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Gary.
Okay.
Is there a second? Commissioner Becker, any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Okay. Information in your packet, the 8th Judicial District and some of the other judicial districts have an administrative order to observe the new federal holiday that was introduced last year, Juneteenth. So I just put that out there. I don't know if that's something that the county is interested, you're all interested in observing at the county level. We generally do observe the federal holidays, but not. I'm just.
I would say we have enough holidays,
Just, I'll take action on this item. Is it?
not too celebrated, my opinion.
Make cookies or anything.
Well, yeah. Just, it'll not be an official county holiday.
Right.
Just say word consensus.
Agree with Dave.
I had it
It's just
here.
a day of observation.
Well, that means they're gonna be closed.
They will.
District court will be closed.
Yes.
Okay.
Post office events will be closed.
Okay.
This rest of the world will go on.
Well, that's what most holidays are for me anyway.
Right,
We don't
it's
get it
just,
anymore.
Whether the county was going to
Yeah.
Right.
participate, we choose not to.
So the next item is
well, I just wanted to bring back up, and I believe I sent this all out, I sent this information out to you. I didn't, when we talked about the active 911 subscription last week, I didn't remember that there had been a previous board action. So there was a previous board action, February of 2018, to pay, to go ahead and pay that at an approximate cost of $2,000 per year for the volunteer departments.
Yes, in light of.
I was just gonna say, you've taken an action since then, so whatever you all decide to do.
In light of the action in the February 20th, 2018 minutes, in which the county did agree to provide the active 911 text messaging to volunteer departments for reimbursement and as a backup to the 911 radio paging. I would move that we rescind last month's action and
I would just
make a new motion.
Just make a new motion.
Okay. And to provide reimbursement to fire departments for the active 911 subscription.
Second. Discussion.
Okay. There's a motion and a second by Commissioner Gary.
I think we need to visit it each year. Those departments have budgets.
Further discussion? If not, those.
Randy's in his hand.
Oh, sorry, I don't see him.
Sorry.
I can see him.
Okay.
Go ahead, Randy.
When Tina started, the sound got very low, and I really don't even know, have a clue what you're talking about.
All right, let me summarize. The minutes of February 20th, 2018, the action by the commission was to provide active 911 text messaging to volunteer departments as a backup to the 911 radio paging. Last month, we took action to pay it for this year and not to pay it moving forward. The motion today is to reimburse the fire departments for active 911.
Just to pay it. We're paying it.
It
We're
would
not
be
reimbursing.
basically to reverse the
Yeah.
previous decision
Yes.
and go back to paying for it,
Yes.
is what Commissioner Mueller's motion was. Can you hear now?
Yeah, okay.
Basically to stick with the
Original.
what was made up in 2018.
I think the intent of that at the time, even though we did pay that, was, we were having issues, and they still have some issues. I think the commission's intent at some point that was going to be resolved.
Yes.
Evidently, it hasn't been.
And it is an incredibly valuable tool. It is value for the dollar cost. It's an incredible tool for the fire departments. And if you want to discuss the appropriateness of who should pay it, we can get into the whole issue. Well, it's communication. The county provides communication and paging, but the paging system in a lot of cases doesn't work. The text service is much more convenient. Volunteers almost always carry their phones with them, not necessarily always their radios. And the phone reception seems to be better, provides more information. It's a very valuable tool for our fire departments. So if there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I didn't hear any nays, so I will go with 5 in favor, no opposition. Okay. Was that the end of the administrative items?
I believe so.
There was one, we have a ballot for voting, Tri-County telephone. How would the commission like to handle that?
If we're authorized to vote, I would delegate someone who at least knows the.
Delegate to someone that knows the candidates, the chairman.
Voting for.
You vote for
Board
the
member of the
commission.
TCT. For the,
Tri-County telephone is governed by a board.
Yeah.
Randy, do you know anybody on the TCT at large?
I was on the nominating committee.
Oh.
I would accept a motion to allow the chairman to fill the ballot.
Make that.
Tri-County telephone.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garing, second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0. are there any members of the public which would like to make comments? We're in public forum. If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garing, is there a second? Commissioner Dahlke,
Aye.
I saw his hand. All in favor, say
Aye.
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 5-0, we are adjourned. Thank you.